camera is
We are on
overrated.
here.
Put a red light
We're
on.
we're on.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, 2023, and we're here for a work session. And as always, we're going to
Recording
start
in
with
progress.
the Pledge of Allegiance. And Tim, can you please take the lead?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had a little problem getting up, dealing with a reconstruction of an ankle, but it was going good. So thank you, Tim, and we have a very busy agenda today, and somewhat of a condensed timeline due to scheduling conflicts, and we're going to take the last item first, which is matters surrounding possibly renaming field number 5 at Starsky Park. Chip, do we have Jason Krosner with us on Zoom? We do. So we got a recommendation from Jason to possibly rename field number 5, and we're very engaged, obviously, with the baseball team here, the baseball teams here in Riverhead, and they're a critical component of youth and sports, and we have a great teams, and there are a lot of individuals that are engaged, and some of them for many years, and the one person in particular stands out. His name is Jeremy Savio. He has been involved with the baseball team for decades. His children went through the baseball teams, and they're grown. They don't play anymore. Obviously, they moved on as young adults, and but Jeremy remained running the baseball teams, and that is an attestment to someone who really cares that after his children are finished, that he continue his legacy. So we're going to bring Jason up, and good morning.
Good morning. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I believe we talked about this briefly last year at opening ceremonies about possibly doing it for Jeremy. I don't believe Field 5 actually has a name yet, and I'd like to name it after him, as you just said he has done so much, even above and beyond his own kids. He's actually now the Little League district president for 14 different Little Leagues through Suffolk. So he's going to continue to keep trying to grow our Little League, even like his kids have moved on. He's also part of the Recreation Council that you have to help benefit the youth also still going forward. So I just think it would be a great honor to dedicate that to him.
Thank you, Jason. And in addition to his work as president of the Little League and the district, he's also an active member of the Riverhead Recreation Advisory. So this individual, we're proud to have him in our community, but we thank him for his continued support, and I think it would be an honor for us to show some form of recognition for all his efforts. And I don't know how the board feels about it. I know I spoke to a couple of board members when I saw you yesterday, but we have to decide what we want to do. I believe that Jason had made a recommendation that possibly rename it at the opening of this year, the baseball season. I think that it was a great idea, and if the board decides today that this is something that we want to do for our community, then we'll have the town attorney's office draft a resolution for adoption.
Great. Sure.
Yeah, just, Jason, I'm sure as you know, just a little backstory here. When Jeremy took over Little League many years ago, they were having some issues. And they were losing players, the enrollment went way down, and he brought this back because it was around that time too that lacrosse was starting to get bigger out here. And so you lost some kids to lacrosse, but he not only brought it back, but he made Riverhead Little League stronger than it had ever been in my existence that I've been here. And my dad was a Little League president back when I was 7 and 8 years old, but Jeremy has stayed there, and his kids went through the system, and they're aged out over and over again, and he's continued on, and Riverhead has honestly one of the best Little League programs for boys baseball and girls softball in Suffolk County, and I'm sure
Oh,
you're not
we
going to
really- we really
disagree with
do.
that.
No, I was one of the first people Jeremy brought on the board with him when he took over. So I've been with him pretty much every step of the way, and you can see how much better our Little League is. We have a lot of outside kids that want to come play for us. There's a lot of legalities with that, but a lot of people try,
Right.
come from other towns.
And in
Yeah.
addition, you got lights last year.
Yes,
for
thank
your
you,
fields.
thank you very much.
And how is that going?
Great, it worked out very nice last year. We were able to actually finish all our games.
Great, perfect. So
Yep.
we're gonna move on. And thank you, Jason, for the recommendation and working with the office. Give us a call. We're gonna have the resolution move forward. And keep up the good work, and thank you for everything you do for our community.
Thank you very much for taking the time.
Great idea, Jason, thank you.
Thank you.
Now we gotta ask Bill Rothar to allocate money for 2 signs now we'll need up at Stotsky Park, so
That's right.
go hunting. Find the money.
Okay. So moving forward, we're gonna have Bill Rothar, our financial administrator, to please come forward and introduce our next item regarding the 2021 audit report. Bill, please come forward.
What is it? Just
Good
Bill.
morning, Bill.
We should have Jeff DeVoli, the managing partner on this audit, on Zoom. He's going to share his desktop, I believe,
I think you have to talk
a power presentation, and go through the audit itself. And then once he's done with his presentation, he'll open it for questions for you guys.
Okay, great. So we have a copy of the audit report. Is this report online? Yes, it is?
It's
Okay.
online also, yes.
Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisor and Town Board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jeff DeVoli, I'm the lead partner of the audit firm of PKF O'Connor Davies. I have with me my senior manager on the engagement, Mrs. Jennifer Clark, and we understand that you have a packed agenda, and Mr. Rothar has told me if I keep this under 10 minutes, I get a baseball field named after me.
There you go.
All right, so Chip, can I share my screen? Okay, can everybody see that?
Not
Nope.
yet.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna move fairly quickly here. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Just a quick agenda for today. Audit status. We have issued our dated and issued audit report for the year ended December 31st, 2021. As of September 30th, 2022, we addressed all the substantive audit work that we planned on in our planning phase. We conducted and performed the audit in accordance with that plan, and we issued an unmodified, or what's generally known as a clean opinion. Some responsibilities of us as your auditors: forming and expressing an opinion about whether the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in conformity with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles. We planned and performed the audit in accordance with the professional standards. We considered internal control for the sole purpose of determining our audit procedures, but not for purposes of expressing an opinion on the internal control. We accumulated misstatements. We'll go through those. We conduct our audit with professional skepticism as required by the standards. And we also rendered an in relation to opinion as relates to the RSI, or required supplementary information, which is the budgetary comparisons and other historical information related to OPEB and New York State pension disclosures. Communicating significant matters related to the audit that are in our professional judgment relative to the responsibilities of you, those charged with governance, in overseeing the financial reporting process. They include all risks, all significant deficiency, material weaknesses identified during the audit. And although our audit cannot be relied upon to identify all instances of fraud or illegal acts, we are required to communicate those issues to you. Excuse me, responsibilities of you, management, those charged with governance, selecting and using appropriate accounting policies, fairly presenting the financial statements in accordance with U.S. GAAP, establishing and maintaining internal control, compliance with laws, regs, and provisions of contracts and grant agreements, designing and implementing policies and internal controls to prevent and detect fraud by setting the proper tone at the top and maintaining and encouraging a culture of honesty and high ethical standards. These are the areas that we consider significant audit areas and therefore areas of concentration during our audit: cash, revenue, receivables, accounts payable, fund balance, grants and contracts, payroll, and other areas of focus were subsequent events and other procedures under governmental auditing standards. Some financial statement highlights: there was an increase in net position on a government-wide basis of the governmental activities of $8.6 million, and an increase in net position of $317,000 in the business type activities. Those business type activities is the sewer and the water funds. In the sewer and water fund, the sewer fund decreased net position by $843,000, and the water fund increased net position by $1.2 million. This is the increase in fund balance for the year. You can see all funds, all major funds, increased fund balance during 2021. The only one that did not was the capital projects fund, which we know is a multi-year fund, and that had a $5.4 million deficit for the year, resulting in a roughly $6 million deficit for the year and a $4.5 million deficit life to date. So that deficit in that fund, as everyone knows, will become eliminated when the permanent financing, specifically the bans, become permanent financing. On the right-hand side, we have the fund balances by type: non-spendable, generally prepaids, restricted either due to general municipal law or other restrictions or contracts. Assigned fund balance, which is generally fund balance in the non-major funds, and unassigned fund balance, which is the unassigned fund balance in the general fund of $6.1 million. Some budgetary highlights: revenue in the general fund was over budget by $2.9 million. Expenditures was under budget by $3.9 million. So this overall, there was $6.8 million positive variance to fund balance in the general fund. In the highway fund, there was a $420,000 increase in fund balance to $4.4 million. The CPF fund had a $9.7 million fund balance at the end of the year. The fund balance is unassigned fund balance of 11.5, represents 22% of 2022's general fund balance expenditures. So we consider that an acceptable level of fund balance. Moving quickly. I'm sorry, the question?
Look, I have, yeah. Bob,
No, I'm gonna sit here to read it, we should have a copy of
well, I'm gonna make a statement to that.
Just some more required communications. Our auditors' responsibility and professional standards and planned audit scope and timing. We do this communication through the engagement letter and also the pre-audit commencement communication. Then there's some qualitative aspects of our accounting practices, accounting policies, significant and unusual transactions, qualitative aspects of accounting estimates and management's judgments. We know financial statements in accordance with GAAP contain a lot of estimates. Those estimates, the major estimates are included there, which include depreciation expense, claims and judgments, compensated absences, landfill closure, net pension liability, and OPEB liability. Qualitative aspects of financial statement disclosures. There's a lot of disclosures in the financial statement. You can tell by the size of the financial statement. I disclose some of them here. I'm also required to communicate to you that we encountered no significant deficiencies in dealing with management and the performance of the audit. There were no disagreements with management, and we have received the required management representation letter from you dated September 30th, 2022. None of the matters discussed in our responses thereto were a condition of our retention as auditors. That's prior to being retained as auditors, there are certain understandings, and we were not retained in accordance with any contingencies. And we're here to affirm that we are independent as it relates to the town. The next disclosure there has to do with opinion shopping. In some cases, management may decide to consult with other accountants about auditing and accounting matters. Management informed us that there is, to their knowledge, there is no such consultations. And corrected and uncorrected misstatements. Professional standards require us to communicate these and accumulate those, and we have done that. Corrected and uncorrected misstatements. Again, there's a slide in here that talks about some just minor adjustments that we will communicate to you today. I'll turn it over to Jennifer Clark.
We had 3 audit adjustments that were required to communicate to you. The first was an adjustment to defer some state aid revenue as it was not received within 60 days of year end. Our second adjustment was to record a receivable for a grant for which there were expenditures prior to year end, but the receivable had not been recorded. And the final was to defer developer fees that were previously recognized as revenue, but should have been deferred. So we corrected that in the sewer and water districts.
So you can see there's adjustments going in opposite directions here, really netting to a relatively net, small effect on net income.
The next section is another required communication. We are required to design our audit to identify any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies as they relate to our audit plan, but not to issue an opinion on the internal control. So during the audit, we did note 2 findings relating to one to compliance and one is a material weakness. The material weakness relates to the Justice Court audits. The town is required to issue those within 60 days of year end. And as of now, the December 31st, 2020 and 2021 Justice Court audits have not been issued. However, the audits have been completed, and once we receive a signed management representation letter for both of those audits, we will be able to issue them. Then the second relates to the real property tax cap. This issue was identified during the 2020 audit, which at that point it was too late to correct the 2021 levy, so the comment has been repeated from the prior year. The reserve for excess levy is being used to offset the 2022 levy.
Thank you, Jennifer. This is just a copy of the management rep letter that was signed by the supervisor and by Mr. Rothar prior to issuance. There's a couple of accounting standards. This one relates to leases. This is in effect for the 2023 year. And then there's another one for what they call SPITs, or relates to subscription agreements on IT, which would relate to the 2023 year. So that's all I have. If there are any questions.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I'm looking at the audit report. Is this the final copy?
Sure.
Yeah, we issued our final copy on September 30th of last year.
Right. And I see that there's a lot of blank pages. I feel very uncomfortable when a financial report is issued and there's a lot of blank pages, 2 or 3 pages in between. Is there a reason? And it states here on some of them, this page was potentially left blank. As a person who understands finances, I'm uncomfortable with that. And I have one other question, and I'm surprised that we, the board, was not supplied with a copy of the PowerPoint. Everything that you said and presented, I was not able to see. A board member had to actually go and try to sit in a chair to try to, and we have the news review here taking pictures of slides. I think that PowerPoint should be presented to the entire public, to the media, and a copy distributed to the board. Bill, is there a problem with that?
Not at all, Supervisor. I'll supply that. As far as the blank pages, maybe,
Can you turn his voice up a little bit? He's kind of dry.
So
Can you
the
not
bl-
hear me?
the blank pages, because I printed them because we had it on the website, so you had copies to see. And when I printed them, they're blank pages so that they show that there's never a back page that starts a new part of the report. That's why there's blank pages in between the way I printed them. Just the way it was formatted, I didn't print them correctly, so when you get the bound copy, it'll be a lot different.
Okay,
Okay.
and yeah, especially if it's gonna be a bound copy. So we, hopefully today, we'll get that PowerPoint and we'll put it up online, and we'll send a copy to the Tim and, the logo if they want a copy, so. Okay. So,
The other local.
yeah, there's a lot of faces behind that. So moving forward, does anyone on the board have any comments on that, or do you want to wait to get the?
I think we need time to review it, so.
You don't,
we can
yeah.
really ask questions.
Yeah, but if you
It
have
was,
any
it was
questions?
difficult to hear and see
Right.
what was
Yeah.
up there.
And that was pointed out, but I'm saying, do you have any questions now while we have them?
No, it's more-
Okay,
need
so
more time to
this is
review.
a big item, and this has to be digested. And we'll be
Can I
in touch
just,
with Bill, so you know what direction we want to go with this, right, Bill?
Nobody's being led away in handcuffs, so that's a good thing.
Yes. Everything is good. I will
yet.
get a copy, I will get a copy of the PowerPoint from Jeff and forward it to the board. I'll actually put it on the website, and I will get bound copies so you guys can have them. I just had to print these last minute, so.
This is fine, as long as the bound, it's not as critical, but eventually they do take I can't sign off on a financial report that has blank pages, especially in one section and 3 of them, you know, so, and it's okay, it's just housekeeping. And, all right,
can I just say one thing real
course.
quick? Who's in charge of the audio for the Zoom? Is it the computer or is it you, Larry? All right, you really need to crank up the audio a little bit, because he was very difficult to not only hear but
Garbled, right,
understand.
or
Huh?
Muffled or
He was-
garbled a
he
little
was
bit?
very muffled, and that could be him needing to get closer to the computer, but we need to make sure we direct that properly so everybody can hear him clearly. Thank you.
I apologize. Anybody has any questions, they can reach out to me directly. I'm available by phone, or if somebody needs me to come in for a meeting, I'll be happy to do that as well.
that's probably gonna happen on my end, because I'm gonna have questions as soon as I can digest this, yes. Thank you for the,
Thank you.
thank you for
All
coming
right,
today.
thank you all.
Have a good day.
You too.
What? We're, you're gonna,
Yep, we're gonna jump into exec now, take care of exec, and then if we still have time, we'll go back into open, otherwise they'll continue. on
oh,
with
okay.
us.
Yeah, we do have, everything came together today, and some of us were here until 9 o'clock last night with the comp plan, so we're gonna take a little detour right now, due to unavoidable scheduling, critical scheduling conflicts. I'm gonna ask for first and second to close this work session and to enter into executive session to discuss matters surrounding a contractual agreement with RXR Development and the Town of Riverhead. In addition, there's a legal matter concerning national opioid class action litigation versus CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens. And after the executive session, we're going to re-enter back into open session, and we'll be back here to finish up the meeting. And I have asked Councilman Hubbard, when we open up again, to take the lead on the rest of the agenda. And can I have a first and a second, please?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. All opposed? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We'll see you in a little bit, probably
lot
about
of
an
it.
hour.
Yeah,
Not a bit.
a lot of it.
Should they come in here?
Recording stopped.
We're gonna do the exec session.